you could do so much of what you do now from home. Snow day, not a problem. That's another school day until your power goes out. The advantage is huge. And, school, of course, is just one part of that. It's not just at the, elementary level. It's college, graduate school. I want to change careers. My job's going away, so I want to learn about another job. Well, even if it's just looking at YouTube videos, you can learn a lot of things that you don't know today.
Plus, like the whole scientific community and all like the scientific journals
Sharing
that
information.
are completely online, and how easy it is to access it.
So I'm back to, the internet is, until something better comes along, an absolute necessity in my mind for people to be successful.
All students have different sets of challenges in terms of overcoming education barriers. And as a school system, it's great when you can start to remove a lot of those barriers and challenges so that students can have equal access to information, that they can start setting their own goals. But in the absence of that, it's not, again, it's the same idea of throwing your hands up and saying, well, I don't have access, I guess I don't have to do well in school.
So how do you look at this as being like a fundamental right and not a privilege?
Sure.
And what's the line there? Would you say that for a young person to have high-speed internet access 24/7 is a fundamental right? I mean, there are folks there are folks that argue that internet for you guys is like oxygen for old people like me. Do you think that? I mean, and how would you regulate that then and make that happen? Because, if it's going to cost for every kid in southern Albemarle County, it's going to cost a Verizon or a Comcast or whatever 10 times the cost to run the necessary infrastructure. Is that fair to them?
Sure.
So where do you draw that line, and how do you make that happen? Who's going to pay for it? It's one of those things that I don't think we have dealt with this very well at the federal level, or even at the state level. You look at whether or not this is something that we would want to say all Americans have access to, versus all Virginians, versus all Albemarle County residents, versus all Monticello students. I mean, where do you draw that line?
Let me answer the question this way. When I think of a utility, I think of a centrally controlled, typically some sort of monopoly that provides a service to all the people in an area. I'm not sure that we need to have the internet be a utility in that sense. I do think of the internet as a utility, or internet access, broadband access, as a utility in the sense that you need it. I mean, you guys have all been born since the internet existed. I remember, 25 years ago or so, getting on the internet for the first time. It's like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And now, if I'm cut off from the internet, probably much like you, it's I got to get my fix. How am I going to find out the news, the weather, how to get from here to there? How am I going to log into the online class I'm taking? How am I going to play my game? How am I going to buy stuff from Amazon? And there are just millions of things you do.
We've got at the county level, and we're feeling this in Western Albemarle, and you guys have been at Monticello since the new firehouse opened up, I believe. That opened up probably your freshman year or so. But that's the kind of thing, you build all of these houses and put all of these people and build another school in a community that doesn't have a firehouse. Well, there might be a problem there.
Yeah.
So how do you put that infrastructure in place? I think we've got to do a better job as a local community that's approving building permits and zoning ordinances and all of that, in saying, you know what, these things don't come without a cost.
And one of the biggest problems we face is not knowing where there's internet coverage today. So I cannot pull up an accurate map and show you the people who live here only have a 1 megabit connection to the internet, and the people who live here have nothing. I can bring up a map that shows you in this block there are people who have up to 10 megabits. But that may be just the one guy down in the corner who has a 10 megabit connection.